Hello, and welcome to a brand new day of free-to-play here on Magic the Gathering Arena. Get the dish on the latest with me, Lord Rumfish. So, I thought it would be interesting today to take an established deck list and tinker with it and turn it into a budget deck. Just try to capture sort of the spirit of what's going on with the deck and pull it all down to commons and uncommons. And see if we can still make something at least somewhat functional. It's not going to be exactly the same, obviously. So, this is an Atraxa domain ramp list that was created by Jim Davis. He's a pro player. I'll give a link to his video in the description below. And the link in his video will take you to a website that's got the full deck list, sideboard. I'm going to play best of one, so we're going to skip the sideboard. And there's a lot of rares in the deck, but I think a lot of them you can substitute in some way, and the ones that we can't substitute we'll get creative with. So, Topiary Stomper is rare, Archangel of Wrath is a rare, Sunfall is rare, Leyline Bindings are rare, Itali is a rare, probably should have been a mythic, Hurt Migration is a rare, and Atraxa is a mythic. And then in the mana base, there's some expensive lands as well. We're going to trim those down too. So, today is sort of an experiment and an exercise in trying to substitute cards when you don't have a full collection, and trying to make do with what you've got, or what you have access to. Common and uncommon wild cards are much easier to get a hold of, and a lot more people have commons and uncommons. It's just the nature of the game. So let's get down to brass tacks here. I'm going to change the deck look here. So, Ossification is fine. Deals with creatures and planeswalkers on 2 mana. Personally, I don't love these style of, you get it back exile effects, because often the creature does more damage when it comes back. But I can't argue with it being an efficient 2 mana removal spell. So, we'll go ahead and keep it. I like that Jim included Azusa's many journeys in this deck. I think it's a great addition, and I would like to go up from, I believe he has 26 lands in this build. Yeah, 26 lands. I would like to see if I can take it maybe even higher. For the moment, I'm going to put 4 Azusa's many journeys in the deck. They play amazingly well with tap lands, and we're going to have a ton of tap lands in the mana base. Alright, Topiary Stomper. We're going to have to move this one out to make a budget deck list. And what can we put in its place? Let's go over to green here. Now, I like what Jim was doing there with Topiary Stomper on 3 into Invasion of Zendikar on 4. It turns on the Stomper to where you've got 7 lands in play, so the Stomper can go ahead and attack the Invasion of Zendikar to flip it. Now, what we want to replace it is another 3-drop that ramps you and would be able to flip the Invasion of Zendikar on the next turn. And I've got just the card in mind. Jewel Thief. Jewel Thief ramps you by putting out a treasure. It also fixes your colors by adding that treasure. It has Vigilance and Trample. So it's not bad stats-wise for its mana cost. And it can attack the battle on the next turn as a relatively threatening 3-drop that can also play defense with Vigilance, and plays around the Wandering Emperor somewhat because of that. So, we're going to add in Jewel Thief to replace Topiary Stomper. Alright, next up we got Archangel of Wrath. So, it's not going to be a clean replacement for a card this powerful. But some of the key aspects I wanted to keep in mind with the Archangel of Wrath, and also answering the question of, if we're going to replace every card in this deck, is it still going to be a domain deck at the end? Is there any reason that we should keep this a domain deck after we've finished doing this process? And yes, I think there are a couple of domain cards that make it worth it. So we're going to reduce Archangel of Wrath down to nothing, and we're going to visit red. Meria's Outrider is a 4/4 reach for 5, and a 4/4 reach is a good body on the battlefield. It's a very stabilizing board presence. And the domain on this card says that when it ETBs, you deal damage to each opponent equal to the number of basic land types among lands you control. So, for 5 mana, you can get a 4/4 reach that domes the opponent for 5 damage, potentially. That's one of the things about the Archangel of Wrath that I like. You can play it proactively if the opponent doesn't have little, creatures that you need to burn out. You can play it proactively and just burn their face. And the, tough body on the battlefield that can block flyers and something that can go to the opponent's face gives this card, I think, a reason to be in the deck. It's not a clean replacement for Archangel of Wrath, but nothing is at common and uncommon. And this gives us a reason to stay in Domain. There is another reason to stay in Domain we'll get to later. Alright, Sunfall. We do not have a clean replacement for Sunfall. We could try to go for a small sweeper. Like something in black or red that gives like 2 damage to all creatures, -2/-2 to all creatures, that sort of thing. But since we don't really have a clean replacement for Sunfall, I think we're going to go ahead and cut it here. And it's possible that we'll, maybe that's the room we made for the extra copies of Azusa's Many Journeys. Maybe we'll try to go above 26 lands. May try to add more spot removal. But there's basically nothing at common and uncommon that can replace a big board sweeper like that. We just kind of got to go with it. It does mean we don't have to worry as much about sweeping up our own creatures. Leyline Binding. This can answer any non-land permanent. Now, part of the reason it's being played here in this spot is because it's a domain card that goes all the way down to a 1 mana flash speed, deals with any non-land permanent. It's going to be very difficult to try to replace this, but there are plenty of spot removal cards. So let's see if we can find some things that will fill in for the Leyline Binding. So Prayer of Binding is another white card. It's an uncommon. It has flash. It's 4 mana. So when you have Prayer of Binding in your hand, you can kind of bluff that you have the Wandering Emperor, because you're keeping 4 mana open with some of it being white. And just like the card we were replacing, it has flash, so you can play it at instant speed. Deals with a non-land permanent, just like the card we're replacing. This one gains 2 life. That doesn't totally offset the fact that it costs more mana. But I think we can go ahead and add in a couple copies of Prayer of Binding. And I don't think we just have to do a strict 1-for-1 replacement here. I think we can find another card or two to fill in. We're going to take a copy of Sheoldred's Edict as another replacement. This card has good flexibility. You can force the opponent to sack a Planeswalker. You can also choose between a non-token or token creature. So you're more likely to be able to hit a good target when you have a Sheoldred's Edict, and it only costs 2 mana. It's an instant. So we're going to add a copy. We're also going to run a copy of Blot Out. So this is 3 mana. It's an instant. Target opponent exiles a creature or planeswalker with the greatest mana value among creatures and planeswalkers they control. So this is very likely to hit the target that you need to hit because it's the highest mana cost. So we're going to go ahead and try out this Aftermath removal spell, Blot Out. So Itali is not a card that you can really find a replacement for at common and uncommon in terms of what it does exactly. We can try to go for its ability to win the game. We can try to go for its ability to affect the board. We can try to go for card advantage. So we're going to add in a copy of Dusk Mangler here. This is a 7-mana horror that's from Streets of New Capenna. As an additional cost to cast the spell, you sack a creature, discard a card, or pay 4 life, one of those. And when it enters the battlefield, each opponent sacrifices a creature, discards a card, and loses 4 life, all 3 of those. So, Dusk Mangler has one of the nicer enters the battlefield triggers among cards in Standard. It's not quite up to, Idyllic and Atraxa. But I've long thought that this was a reasonable target for a Reanimator or Ramp deck to get up to. It's especially good with reanimating it because you don't pay the additional cost to cast it. We're going to add 1 copy and just try to cast it here today. Herd Migration is hard to replace, but in terms of a card that can gain you some life and make 3/3s, Rise of the Ants is an uncommon. It's from Midnight Hunt. It makes a pair of 3/3 insects, you gain 2 life. And you can flash it back for 8. So, on the front face of the card, it's a little cheaper than Herd Migration. On the back side, it's a little more expensive. It's not as effective as a Herd Migration, but it's just an uncommon. We're going to add in a couple copies of Jodah's Codex. This artifact is expensive to get down, but if you have Domain, all 5, you can just tap it to draw a card, which is pretty powerful. It's a steep initial investment, but then if the game runs for any length of time after that, you've got a really powerful card draw engine on your hands. Replacing Atraxa is obviously a somewhat impossible task, but the core of the idea of what Atraxa does is that you get a presence on the battlefield that hopefully stabilizes you, right? She's a good blocker, gains you life, is a win condition to help put away the game, and draws you a bunch of cards so that even if they deal with the Atraxa, you are still left with gas in the tank to keep going. So, you try to impact the board, right? Stabilize, draw a bunch of cards, and be left with a giant flying threat to win the game. So if we were going to cut Atraxa and try to find a card to replace all of those things, I think Behold the Unspeakable would be a reasonable shot. Obviously, you're not going to find anything at common or uncommon that really replaces Atraxa, but on Chapter 1, you give creatures you don't control -2 power until your next turn. So, as soon as you play this, you've stalled out the offense of the opponent a bit. Chapter 2, you draw some fresh cards. If you have 1 or fewer cards in hand, you draw 4 cards, and that would be very good. Otherwise, you scry 2 and draw 2 cards, that's still not bad. And on Chapter 3, it flips into Vision of the Unspeakable. It's a flying trampler that gets +1/+1 for each card in your hand. And, it may not be as big as Atraxa, but it could be. It could be a giant flying trampler to win the game with. So, again, this is a distant cry from Atraxa, but it's only an uncommon. Finally, one other card I want to make a little bit of room for in the deck here is Alabaster Host Intercessor. So this one combines elements of the Archangel of Wrath, where you get a 3/4 that helps to stabilize the board by, exiling a creature. And there's a little echo in the plane cycling of the Domain spell made the 3/3s that we had to get rid of. It could cycle for basic lands. This can cycle for a plains. I'm just going to add 1 copy. Okay, we've got our spells squared away. Now we need to figure out what we're doing with our lands. So, doing a true budget build here, we're going to get rid of the rares. So, Boseiju can go, Rafine's Tower can go, Zaitor's Proving Ground can go, Jetmir's Garden can go, and Spara's Headquarters can go. I think we're going to go up a swamp. We've changed the components of the deck a little bit to where it'd be nice to hit double black. And we're going to add in a bunch of these common tap lands. They have 2 basic land types, enter the battlefield tapped. These are going to be our bread and butter for a extreme budget build of Domain. We'll add a copy of Evolving Wilds to be able to fetch a copy of anything. And 1 more forest to make sure that we hit our green. Alright, so this is the deck that we've brewed up here, kind of as a thought experiment. Now I'm going to take it out and see if it can do anything. So, yeah, this is a complete budget overhaul of an Atraxa domain deck. It's still a domain deck. It's got Meria's Outrider and Jodah's Codex. And it tries to keep the spirit of what the deck is trying to do intact. Whether that's any good or not, we'll find out. We're up against Storm Drake. Go first? Well, got some answers. Got a lot of tap lands. Alright, there's a basic if we need to do an ossification. For now... See, I don't have another blue source yet. I'm gonna go ahead and get down the Geothermal Bog. Okay. We'll play out the Jewel Thief here. There's at least the possibility of playing Behold the Unspeakable next turn with an untapped land. No, the opponent can't handle it. The deck is just too powerful. Alright, we're up against Lord Bunt. Like a bunt cake? I guess it's not spelled that way. Go first. I don't see white, but I feel like we can get there. I don't think it's so impossible. Play a Tangled Islet. Alright, we're headed towards Blot Out. Play this Molten Tributary. We go Harmony. Okay. I could go ahead and blot it out. But I'm gonna wait. Let them make their play, think about what they're doing. Calyx. Would I rather blot out the Calyx? It's kind of a tough question. I guess so, though. Yeah, put the counter on the Weaver. Go ahead and blot out Calyx. Alright. 4 mana, Invasion of Zendikar we need. Well, we've got the other blue, we need white though. Need white. I think I'm actually going to grab 2 white in case I want to cast 2 Ossifications. Machikos, but they're not able to copy it. Well, it'd be tapped if they copied it. Alright. Here is an Ossification. Well, that went through with no problem. It just hits creatures and planeswalkers. But that second chapter on the rain does nothing here. Thing, that's just kind of an enchantment on the board. It's not really a big deal. Okay, do I want to go for Rise of the Ants? I think I will. Until I find more removal, I need to be careful with this second Ossification. Okay. So Behold the Unspeakable can draw 4 cards if you get your hand empty. So I'm going to play out the land. For now I'm going to flash back the Rise of the Ants. And no attacks. There's a Naturalist, but they don't need it anymore. Okay. I think it would be worth it to try to flip the Invasion of Zendikar here. And I can make all their creatures smaller if I cast the Behold the Unspeakable. So... and I can actually try to flip both of them. Guess it doesn't matter anymore. Grab a swamp and a mountain. So 2 at this one, 2 at that one. Okay. And yeah, they're still smaller. Presto, Iganjo. Portrait's getting big enough, I might need to clear it out of the way. Okay, they're going to ossify Skyclave. Would be interesting to get it back. Okay, so draw. Alright, there's no way to get this other card out of my hand. I definitely don't want to land here. Okay. So, let's go ahead and ossify the portrait. And then we'll go ahead and attack them. Yeah, trade off defender. One less enchantment on their side of the board. They dropped 8. Play a Meria's Outrider. Take him to 3. And say go. Whatever comes back tapped. All Lord Conda, that's a weird card to be running. It fits the Outrider here. They still need the Naturalist to block, though. They're just dead, right? They're like really, really dead. Yeah. We're up against Trawful. Opponent goes first. Azusa's Mini Journeys is good at picking you back up into the game when you go second, though. Immune with Spirits. Helix. Alright. Tap land. Say go. I was almost hoping I would get a tap land there for the Azusa's Mini Journeys. It plays so well to drop a tap land as your extra land drop for that turn. Okay. So, I could Invasion of Zendikar, but that's giving Calyx the ability to copy an enchantment. Which I don't like. I would like to at least contest his status on the board here. So I'm going to play this Tangled Islet. I'm going to play a Jewel Thief. And see what the opponent can do. I can play the Ossification off the treasure if I have to. Wedding announcement. Okay, I don't think I can let them copy a wedding announcement. I guess it's... Well, okay. If I play the Invasion of Zendikar, then I can get white mana forever for future turns. That sounds pretty good. I don't need double blue. I think I get a white and a black. I do need to go ahead and ossify. It's cool that I nabbed the counters off of Calyx. They could have another one, but those counters are just gone. And if they aim removal at this likeness of the Seeker, that's something they don't have for the Intercessor. By Ganjo. Okay, that's one less removal spell they have in their hand. It's a pretty low value target. Seal from existence on what? My Ossification? Okay. But Calyx isn't doing anything fancy this turn. And I can just go ahead and remove him. We'll see if their hand continues to be perfect here. Land, that's a good sign. Commune, not a good sign, but maybe they'll whiff. Okay, Naturalist is not a great hit here. They've got all the mana they need. Ooh, Tilda. Tilda's nasty. So let's go Behold the Unspeakable. Drink all their creatures. And play this Jewel Thief. And that means I'm actually going to draw 4 cards on the next chapter. Hopefully I'll find an answer for the Catilda. And we'll still be in this game. That's a lot of land. Azusa's many journeys can gain us some life, so if they don't find a pump for the Catilda, then that's alright. I think I'd go ahead and attack the Invasion of Zendikar with the Jewel Thief. They use the Fang of Shigeki. Interesting. Alright. Rise of the Ants. I'll play Azusa's Many Journeys. And I think I need another black source down. Aside from that, I'm going to keep these other ones in my hand. Taking that block actually shrunk their Catilda. Looks like they just hit a land. Okay, Meria's Outrider, that can block. So let's go ahead and try to flip this invasion here. See if they still feel like blocking. Apparently the answer is yes. I'm not so sure I would have blocked if I was them. Losing that Naturalist is going to shrink the Catilda again. Alright. Playing the Outrider gives me an out in case they have a pump for the Catilda. So I guess I go ahead and do that here. Well, I suppose the Vision of the Unspeakable actually can block as well. But I'll end the turn. Okay, Jukai Naturalist. You know, I've almost gone up blockers to just kill Catilda. So I guess they're trying to force me into a block I don't want to make. Yeah, no blocks. Yeah, no attacks. Okay, they found gas. So, Ossification, they target the Vision. If I can get rid of that thing, that would be great for me to blow up. So, block you, everything blocks you. Okay. Codex, draw card. That works. Ossification, get rid of Catilda. And if they can remove one blocker, I'm not dead, so let's go ahead and try to flip this thing. Jump. That's great. Alright, I'll go ahead and play another land here. Now that I'm not trying to keep up with the, what is the backside called? Vision of the Unspeakable. Okay, Ossification, they get back their Calyx. Puts a counter, forces me into a bad block. But I think all of that's fine still. Oh, you're rethinking? Rethinking? That's great. Here, let me go ahead and draw a card. Ooh, like that too. That can get rid of both of their things. So, yeah, might as well. Here, Ossification here. Get rid of the Calyx. Then I will play the Dusk Mangler. I will discard a card. It'll be a mountain. And then I will flip this invasion. And end the turn. I'm gonna land in a commie. Alright. Cool. Alright. Ossification, target a forest. Swing all. I'm just gonna go ahead and play it out for right now. Can gain me life. Make a 3/3. There's a land. Draw a card. Alright. Play planes. Say go. Tommy. Draw a card. Okay. We'll move it out of the way. Play this land. Attack. Say go. We got there, folks. We got there. We're up against Gorilla Loco. Gorilla as in a gorilla fighter. Opponent goes first. We've got an Azusa's Many Journeys. If we find an untapped land on 2, I would say we're in good shape. Let's go ahead and lead on the Radiant Grove. Get some white and green mana. LSL Core. Interesting. Alright. I'm gonna put down the Molten Tributary, start diversifying my lands. Don't have a swamp yet. Take 2. They play nothing. Okay. So, Tangled Islet, Zeus's Many Journeys. Idyllic Beachfront. And they swing for 2 and say go. Interesting. Well, here's another Azusa's Many Journeys. Sheoldred. That's worth getting rid of. Let's see, I could ossify the Sheoldred. I can't blot out the Sheoldred, so I guess it's just ossify. Okay, it's another Sheoldred. I need a black source here. Block. Having trouble hitting my mana here. Well, I guess I play the Meria's Outrider to be mana efficient. Go ahead and deal 4 to him. If they swing in here, they've got a removal spell. In which case, I probably ought to just swing back at them. Okay, for 1 mana, I don't think they have it. Some kind of Mardu pile over here. It's got, Drain. It's got, like, Ellis, Ilkor, and Sheoldred. Trying to pick away at the life total. I'm guessing they probably run Archangel of Wrath. If they have one in their hand and they hit an untapped land next turn, they'll probably play it. Try to burn out the Meria's Outrider. Okay. Well, there's no reason I can't ossify the same land, right? That's 2 Sheoldreds down the drain. They're going to sacrifice their Sheoldred to Corrupted Conviction. Okay. Playing Azusa's Mini Journeys. And no attacks. Okay, Blood Tithe Harvester. It's big enough they could try to kill the Outrider at this point. Well, I'm gonna go for it. Opponent's just throwing resources at the wall here. Would really like to see an untapped land on my next turn. Swamp would be great. Alright, untapped land. Rise of the Ants. No attacks. If I had a black mana, I might have attacked there to untap it for the Blot Out. Okay. So right now if I get a black, the Blot Out would hit Braids, which would be nice. Because I can sack artifacts right now to keep triggering Braids. Yeah, they've got a definite, like, drain thing going on with their deck. Which I kind of dig. Alright. Yeah, they're just throwing it all away. Yep, trigger the Braids. Draw a card. Jewel Thief would let me cast the Blot Out, which would get rid of their Braids. And I could wait until their turn to see if they play like another Sheoldred or something I'd rather get rid of. So I think I'm going to do this. Get that black mana. I could start racing them, and maybe I should. I don't think they're going to stop trying to come after me. Let me be a little cautious here. Attack with 1 to start with. Okay. I'll put a stop on their post-combat main phase. That'll be sort of the last moment to get Braids. Bony Cold Anvil. Yeah, they're very much a draining deck. I can't be too happy about these Rise of the Ants. They gain me life. I'm just waiting to see if they play a better target than Braids. If they don't, I will happily blot out Braids before they draw more cards. Okay. I'm gonna hit Braids. Braids is a card draw engine, which is not something I want them to have. Now, they could have another card that lets them, like, sack a creature to draw to, but that Blot Out doesn't care about that. Blot Out would go down to LSL Core at that point. So... Alright. It's the Anvil. Oh, Prayer of Binding. The 3 extra mana from the likeness doesn't make a big difference here. I'm just gonna come in. They're taking 12? Are they like a farewell deck or something? Surely not. Farewell is like the worst nightmare of an Oni Cold Anvil deck. I don't think so. I'm playing this Rise of the Ants. Nixilis. Okay.
I've conquered the entire plane. Shake down the one city.
No, I'm not going to discard a card.
Pleasure doing.
I think I will bind the Ob Nixilis. That's the token. Just gets rid of it forever. I might attack the real Ob Nixilis with the Jewel Thief because it tramples. Makes it very difficult to stop. Okay, they're just gonna give it up. We're up against Locos on deck. Opponent goes first. Zeus's Many Journeys. If I get some more lands, this hand will be pretty decent. Alright. It's at least one more land. Hope I get a tap land with some other colors. Oh well, not to be. Go ahead and play Azusa's Many Journeys. Say go. Got Armored Scrapgorger over there. Sheoldred. Okay. Don't have the mana yet. Well, ossify the Sheoldred. That'd be way too quick of a clock. Any untapped land would be amazing. The Invasion of Zendikar could let me play the other cards in my hand, basically. Alright, they're bushwhacking for a basic. It's a swamp. I wonder if they're like a Fight Club deck. With the Phyrexian Obliterator. They got food for the Scrapgorger now. I make a 3/3. Play an Invasion of Zendikar. Alright, they've got double blue now. So I guess I need black and red here. Gix. Seems like an odd choice when they've had, like, such a creature-light start to the game. Gix seems like something you try to curve out with. Okay. Land. I can do Behold the Unspeakable, but I can't also cast Azusa's Many Journeys. It takes my green source. Unless I untap it. Yeah, let's go ahead and do this. If they have a removal spell, they would get in with Gix anyway, so I'm gonna attack with the Likeness. Right, if they have a removal spell, it's the same either way. If they let me flip the Invasion, then that's 2 creatures they have to remove. Okay, the Tail Swipe, which actually kills their Gix. Just kills it. Gives them, you know, all the food they need to flip the Gorger, but they don't even pull a counter off of it at the end of the turn there. Okay. They cycle the Takenuma. Okay, they do have the Obliterators. That is something they're doing. So I need to find my exile removal here. I don't think another Outrider is really what I need. So I'm gonna put these on the bottom here. Okay. Yeah, Intercessor's good. Beachfront. Get some more blue sources out there, so it's not competing with the green. Jewel Thief will put a treasure out. That could let me cast the Dusk Mangler on my next turn. So I don't think I cast any of these other cards right now. Yeah, I think I need that treasure. Think I got better things to do with it. Plus, keeping a lot of cards in hand makes the Vision of the Unspeakable bigger. Yeah, plain Obliterator. Graveyard Trespasser. Are they going to have anything left to feed to her? Maybe. Yeah. Gone for good. Still a Gix down there. Okay, so play the Intercessor. Move this Obliterator out of the way. And come in on the Invasion of Zendikar. So far they've been willing to trade everything with me. So yeah, this block, it should be surprising, but in the context of this game, it's not. Gotta leave these cards in hand for the Vision. Play out the Outriders and the Dusk Mangler later. Okay, that's gonna blow up everything. So it gives them the Obliterator back, but... that lets me... I'm gonna pay 4 life. Hit him with the Dusk Mangler. I bet they've never sacrificed a Phyrexian Obliterator to a Dusk Mangler before. Yeah, I'm actually just gonna start playing everything out now, since they got rid of the Vision of the Unspeakable. No, they're all done. Alright, we're up against Elmarix. I'll give it a shot. Swift Spear, huh? Let's see. I guess I just Edict on their turn. Phoenix Chick. Double Phoenix Chick. I think I go ahead and ramp this turn. Get a Jewel Thief down. It's a good blocker. It's also not a bad attacker, it's got Vigilance. Reckless Impulse. Land and an Ancestral Anger. That was a pretty weak turn for them. Ooh! Invasion of Zendikar, yes. Absolutely. Double blue. Flip it over. Monoface's Caucus on them. Got a lot of vigilant damage coming at them. Behold the Unspeakable, I think it's a better play than the Ossification here. It's gonna make their birds useless. So, yeah, coming in. Behold. In turn. Okay. You can play a big Raiju, I can block it though. No to those. Okay. Rise of the Ants, that can gain me life. Play a mountain. Do I just play another Behold here? I think maybe I do. Yeah, come in. Shrink those Phoenix chicks down. And, what the heck? I'm gonna play this Ossification too and get rid of the, bigger one. What's Chandra?
Don't think a fancy dress means I didn't come here to fight. Let's bring things up to a simmer.
They're trying, folks. They are trying. Let's see, top or bottom? I'd really like to get another green source, like this turn right now. That'll do. Okay, yeah, I can't pump the Jewel Thief, but I can go ahead and pressure their Chandra. Make life a little harder for them. have 8 mana on the board, so I don't have to get another land down. Playing the Azusa's Many Journeys gains me life on its second chapter, though. So Rise of the Ants brings me to 7, and Azusa's Many Journeys would get me up to 10. Okay, they're actually soaking 2 damage for
Listen,
Chandra
jerk.
here.
Move
That's
it.
strange. Alright. Oh, I can't play the Azusas. I've only got 2 green. Well, it's Rise of the Ants. That was
This
a
is
mountain.
a fun idea.
That was a mountain. So this is normally the part at the end where I make suggestions on how you could make the deck better. You've already seen how to make the deck better, though. Just go play the deck that Jim Davis built. This is an unrefined example of how you can take a bunch of commons and uncommons and sort of rebuild the spirit of a deck without actually having its key cards. And this deck ended up having a winning record. You know, it didn't feel incredibly powerful, but I was able to eke out a bunch of wins. So I think the card quality is not the worst here. Anyway, like, subscribe, do all the YouTube stuff, and until next time, never stop honing your critical thinking and empathy.